Okay, greetings, dear Toastmasters. Welcome to the 648th meeting of the Kolkata Toastmasters Club. We're just two meetings away to make it 650th. And I hope all of y'all are having a good, great Lucky Puja today. Personally, I love it when a festival happens on a Friday because then we get like 2 days to just rest and embrace the hangover and then get back to work from Monday. So I will quickly run you by the rules of the meeting. So do not unmute yourself when the speaker is speaking. Don't prompt the speaker without the prior permission of Madam President. And refrain from using sex, religion, and politics in your speech. Now, there is one story that I would like to share with you all. As a child, I was a person who had a problem with sharing things, and I didn't, I it was very difficult for me to let go of my stuff. So this went on for a very long time, for most part of my childhood, until one day, my domestic help's daughter, she asked me for one of my dresses for her cousin's wedding. So I was reluctant at first, and I was telling my mom, I don't want to give it and all that. Although I wasn't wearing it, and there was no logical reason whatsoever to keep it. But then eventually I decided, fine, I will just share it with her. So when I gave it to her, her face just lit up. Okay. And in that moment changed my entire perspective and my entire nature. I realized how beautiful this feeling is when you give something to someone and that makes the person happy. So what started as a dress has eventually rooted out to feelings and emotions. So what I want to advise and suggest all of y'all is to do this to because this is probably one thing which gives happiness to both the receiver and the giver. So with that, please allow me to introduce our president, Shreyadi. Now, unfortunately, I haven't had the opportunity of interacting with her personally till yet, but in all the meetings that I have attended, I have found her to be very welcoming and very warm. So it feels like she is like the go-to person and she has like the answer to everything. And right now, I haven't had many problems, but I know whenever I do, I know the person I will go to. So, with a huge round of virtual claps, I would like to invite Madam President Shreyadi. The virtual podium is yours. Shreyadi, are you there?
Yeah, thank you, Toastmaster Anam, for such kind words. And yes, I do miss meeting all of you in person. It has been a long time. And while the world is celebrating Eid and Lakshmi Puja today, we take a step ahead and come together to celebrate the 648th meeting of Kolkata Toastmasters Club. A warm welcome to all of you for giving your time. For time is one of the most valuable things one can give to anyone. I request the guests to introduce themselves in the chat box. We want to know your name, from where you came to know our Toastmasters, and what you're currently doing right now. And while the guests do so, I'd like to interact with two of the guests, who may be Anish. Anish, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Okay, so please introduce yourself. We want to know more about you.
So this is Anish Singh. I carry an experience of 4 years. My last stint was at Oyo. I was a deputy key account manager there. I worked with them for 3.5 years. I'm a graduate from St. Xavier's, Calcutta. I'm born and brought up in Calcutta only. Hoping to connect with you all as we meet ahead.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining, and hope to see you in our further meetings.
Thank
Okay,
you.
next guest Tarun. Tarun, you are a guest or a Toastmaster?
Hello, hello. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Please continue.
Yes. I'm a guest.
Okay, so
So
we want to. Yeah, please carry on.
yes. My name is Tarun, and this is my second virtual meeting in Toastmaster. The first meeting was before Puja actually, and I live in Howrah, and I've studied engineering from IIST Shibpur. After that, I did a job for 2 years in Vikram Solar, and after that I left the job. Currently, I'm preparing for a GATE exam for doing preparing for higher studies and masters in engineering. So I came to know about Toastmasters from one of my colleague. Actually, she told me about this and the public speaking forum. So from there, I actually went to the center in Peter Cat there. So once I visited there, so then after for a 1 year, I couldn't join because of some problems in my personal life. Then later on, I realized that I have to join. Like I was very frustrated in the lockdown period. So after that, I joined, and I'm looking forward to continuing this like this, and hopefully someday uh, it will be like in person. The meeting will be in person. So that's about myself.
Thank you, Tarun, and I'm so happy to see you here because I'm also a product of IIST Shibpur.
Oh
And
wow!
please connect with me later because the one thing that I miss most about college life is ragging juniors. And seeing you, I just can't resist the temptation. So please connect afterwards.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Our secretary Toastmaster Tanish has circulated the minutes of the previous meeting. Please apprise us if you recommend any modifications within 48 hours, after which we'll consider it to be a pass. A big round of applause for a secretary Toastmaster Tanish Agarwal. Today is my friend Raghu's birthday. He always buy oranges from an old lady. After the oranges are weighed, placed in his bag, and the price paid, he would always pick one orange, peel it, take out a piece, put it in his mouth, and then complain that it is sharp and hand it over that orange to that old lady. The old lady would put one piece in her mouth and reply, "Why? It's sweet." However, by then, Raghu was gone with his bag. His wife always noticed it, and one day she asked, "The oranges are always sweet. Then why this drama every time?" He smiled and said, "The old lady sells oranges, but never eats one for herself. By this trick, I just try to get her to eat one without losing her money. That's it." The vegetable vendor next to the old lady saw this every day and asked, "Each day this man comes and buys and fusses over your oranges, and I see you always weigh a few extra for him. Why?" The old lady said, with a small smile in her face, "I know what he tries to do. He just wants to feed me an orange. He thinks I do not know that. I never weigh extra. His love tilts the scale slightly every time. Life joys are in the small, sweet gestures of affection and respect for our fellow beings." And on that note, I'd like to welcome the Vice President membership of our club, who not only takes care of our members, but also our guests. He's a multi-talented person. He's a teacher, a singer, an actor, a wonderful speaker. And what I like most about him is that he's a true gentleman and a man of elite virtues. Please put your hands together for the Toastmasters of the day, Toastmaster Gurpreet Singh.
Thank you so much, Madam President, for those kind words, and a very good evening to all fellow Toastmasters and guests. One of the most memorable stories from the life of Mahatma Gandhi is about his train journey in South Africa and how he was literally thrown off the train just because it was meant for the whites. However, my favorite story from the life of Mahatma Gandhi is again set on a train. Not a very popular story finds what makes Mahatma Gandhi a true giant among men. But ladies and gentlemen, before I state that story and elaborate on the theme of the day, which is one shoe syndrome, allow me to specify how a Toastmasters meeting is conducted. Now, a typical Toastmasters meeting has 3 sessions, ladies and gentlemen. The first session being the prepared speech section, where the prepared speakers deliver their speeches from their respective pathways within a given time frame, followed by the table topic section, where a table topic master will be doling out impromptu topics, and the members, as well as the guests, are expected to speak for a minimum of 1 and a maximum of 2 minutes. And the last but not the least, the bread and butter session of any Toastmasters meeting, the evaluation session, where the evaluators will be providing constructive and insightful feedback to all the speakers. But to ensure that the meeting runs smoothly, we have a set of role players who is obviously headed by the general evaluator, ladies and gentlemen. And the general evaluator for this evening is a person with a dynamic personality, as I am told, somebody who is just mesmerizing with his mellifluous voice on stage, very versatile and very insightful. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for a virtual round of applause for the general evaluator for this meeting, Toastmaster Anik. The stage is all yours.
Thank you so much, Mr. Toastmaster of the Day. That was an amazing introduction. Probably one of the best that I have got so far for playing the role of the G. But thank you so much for the beautiful introduction. Good evening once again, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm going to play the role of your general evaluator for this session. And as I always term this role, is similar to that of a match referee who takes care of the entire match. I take care of the entire session right from its beginning. But as you know, that in every match, a match referee is assisted by his or her on-field umpires. I have a set of role players and evaluators with me who would help me in evaluating the entire session. Now, you all would get introduced to the various evaluators during the prepared speech section. But for now, let's see who are the role players for today's session. First, let us start with the timer. Today, the role of the timer is being played by Toastmaster Oishika. Toastmaster Oishika, I would request you to come on the virtual platform and explain your role for everyone. Over to you.
Thank you, General Evaluator. The bad news is time flies. The good news is you're the pilot. Good evening, everyone. I'm your timer for the evening. I, as the timer, will help you fly your airplane of time by ensuring that your speeches stay within the time limits. In order to do so, let me introduce you to the different time limits. For the speakers, the time limit is 5 to 7 minutes. I'll show the green card at the end of 5 minutes, the yellow card at the end of 6 minutes, and the red card at the end of 7 minutes. Grace period being 30 seconds on both ends. For table topics, I'll show the green card at the end of 1 minute, the yellow card at the end of 1.5 minutes, and the red card at the end of 2 minutes. Grace period being 30 seconds only at the end. And lastly, for evaluation, I'll show the green card at the end of 2 minutes, the yellow card at the end of 2.5 minutes, and the red card at the end of 3 minutes. Grace period being 30 seconds on both ends. I'll continue to flash the red card after the completion of maximum time limit till the speech gets over. Also, let me show you the different cards. This is the green card, the yellow card, and the red card, which I'll be showing. I will note down the time taken by each person and present my report when called upon to do so. On that note, back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Oishika, for beautifully explaining your role. And that was a very crisp presentation showing all the time limits. Thank you so much. Let me move on to the next role player, the R counter for today, which is played by Toastmaster Anam. I kindly request you to come on the virtual podium and explain your role for all of us.
Sure. Thank you, General Evaluator. So as the R counter for the day, as the name suggests, I will be counting all the filler words used in the sentence, which these filler words, they're of no use and they usually act as hindrances. Examples of such filler words are so, like, actually. I hope all the speakers get a smooth green line in my report. Wishing all the best to all the speakers. Back to you, General Evaluator. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Anam. And that's indeed another creative way of sharing your role. This is the first time I've seen someone presenting it in this way, using a line and then breaking it up. Thank you so much for that. I'll now quickly move to the third role player, that is the grammarian for today, played by Toastmaster Deepak. Toastmaster Deepak, you have the virtual podium to explain your role to all of us.
Thank you so much, Mr. General Evaluator. Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. I'm the grammarian for the day, and my role is to note down all the good and not so good usages of grammar and report it when the General Evaluator will call me again. The word of the day is, can everyone see my screen? Okay. Ubiquitous, which means present or found everywhere. One of the examples could be computers are becoming increasingly ubiquitous. So I will request all the speakers to kindly use the word of the day, and whenever any speaker would use the word of the day, I will request everyone to not unmute but use emoticons provided by Zoom. This clap or like emoticons to praise the effort used by the speaker for using word of the day. I will submit my report when called upon to do so. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Deepak. We now have the war counter today, that is played by Toastmaster Piyush. Toastmaster Piyush, could you kindly explain your role to us?
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. A Toastmaster meeting is filled with many good moments, but there are few moments which make you utter wow. That's it. That's the moment. Today, my role as a wow counter is to take note of top 3 best moments and present at the end of the meeting when called upon to do so. Back to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Piyush. And the final role player for today who I'm going to introduce is the parliamentarian, played by DTM Archita. Archita, you have the virtual podium to introduce your role to all of us.
Thank you so much, Mr. General Evaluator. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The role of the parliamentarian is to ensure that all parliamentary norms are followed. Let me introduce a few of them to you. Some of the parliamentary norms are: kindly do not unmute yourself when a speaker is speaking. Please make sure that when you're speaking, if possible, the video is switched on. Kindly do not post any abusive or non-parliamentary messages on the chat box. Please make sure that while the screen is being shared, kindly do not use any annotations. Otherwise, you will be asked to leave the meeting. Also, make sure that in case you need to send a private message to someone, please go to the Zoom chat and select that person's name and write the message, and not on the chat otherwise. Along with these, my personal few requests are: I request everyone who can possibly put their videos on, please do so, especially when someone is speaking. In this meeting, sometime or the other, everyone will be speaking. So let's try that. And with that, I will keep a note of all of these things and report back to the general evaluator. Let's make sure that this meeting does not become like the Indian Parliament. So the responsibility is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, DTM Archita, for beautifully explaining your roles. Thank you. Thank you so much, all the role players today. Can we have a huge round of applause for all the role players for beautifully explaining their roles. And with that, I would be back again at the end of the meeting. Till then, have a nice meeting, have a nice evening with our Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Gurpreet. The virtual podium is yours.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Anik and all the tag role players. Moving on. I would give you just 5 seconds, ladies and gentlemen, just 5 seconds to answer a simple question in the chat box. Suppose you were traveling and you lost one of your slippers or one of your shoes. What would you do? I repeat, suppose you were traveling and you suddenly drop one slipper. You just have one slipper on. What do? The first answer is throw the other away. The other, Tarun says panic, throw the other one too. So getting quite a number of responses, ladies and gentlemen. One shoe syndrome. Now this is what Mahatma Gandhi did. Mahatma Gandhi was waiting at a railway platform in India expecting the train to arrive at any point of time. In those days, the trains only stopped at a station if there was a white who wanted to get on or get off the train. With no white men in the train merely slowed down and the Indians, young or old, had to scramble onto or get off the running train. So as Gandhiji was trying to get onto a moving train, one of his slippers actually fell between the tracks. In an instant, Gandhiji removed the other slipper and threw it down onto the tracks. An onlooker standing nearby was surprised. They thought perhaps Gandhiji has gone crazy. But why did Gandhiji do this? I mean, why did he drop his second slipper when he had lost one? You think about it. I'll come back with an answer. But as of now, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to welcome the first speaker for the evening. But before that, can I have her evaluator, Toastmaster Achyut Todi, to state the speech objectives?
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day. Good evening, everyone. The speaker in question today has embarked on the path of innovative planning and is on her third level right now. The purpose statements of a current project is for the member to practice writing and delivering a speech that inspires the audience. This speech should be engaging, and the speaker should also try to entertain or motivate the crowd, or perhaps even move them. And the aim is also to interact with the audience while they are trying to inspire them. Best of luck to the speaker. One quick note, the timings for this speech is 5 to 7 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Achyut. Now, when I asked the speaker, how important is giving than getting? She had a clear-cut answer, and I seriously loved that answer. She said it's good to give, but as long as people respect what you give, the day they stop respecting, you should stop giving, because otherwise it is nothing but a waste of money, energy, and resource. Put your hands together for the first speaker for this evening, Toastmaster Anisha Agarwal, with the speech titled, Why Toastmaster Anisha Agarwal.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, Anisha, you're audible.
Okay. Beauty. What is it that exactly comes to our mind when we hear this word? Glamorous looking individual, pretty eyes and glowing face. Well, that's about it all right. But is it all? Doesn't beauty also mean purity of person thoughts, a courageous heart, and a helpful personality? These things count well too. Look at that brave soul fighting to keep her head held high despite of the frowns that she received from the entire society, which pretends to worship her as a goddess. A country that celebrates womanhood in various forms is unable to make its cities, towns, and villages safe for women. It is disheartening yet a blatant truth. It calls to our attention as to why women cannot be safe and sound within their communities. Rape, acid attacks, sexual molestation, child marriage, and mental harassment are the major issues that happen in India today. Acid, as ubiquitous as toilet cleaning liquids, are readily available in corner stores. Acid has emerged the most preferred weapon of violence against women. Acid attacks are the most horrendous and the gruesome crimes that not only cause physical trauma but also emotional as well as psychological trauma to victims. These incidents largely arise out of the rejection of unwanted male attention, disgruntled fathers, disenchanted lovers, jealous colleagues, and those seeking revenge from the family. They make women their main target. The movie Chapak deals with the larger question of how women are shown their face if they try to fight with the societal standing and of the laws that pronounce the same sentence for acid throwing as and the other hot fluids as well. The notion of the men trying to erase a woman's face is portrayed with sensitivity and gravity at the same time. Once you hear the splash of the acid on a face, the word chapak becomes harder to ignore. Just for saying no or responding boldly to molesting comments. How can an individual go from being human to just an egoistic, heinous animal? I'd heard I'd heard Lakshmi Agarwal's speech when she had which when she was giving her speech, which inspired me a lot. When she said that he threw acid on my face, not on my dreams. He changed my face, not my dreams. She even said that I'm not a victim, I'm a survivor. The man who threw on face will cover his face. I won't. But the question remains same. Why? Why did this happen? Another why for which I have been not been able uh, to answer is the Nirbhaya gang rape case. This ghastly incident was definitely the spark that ignited the fire for women's safety and women rights. But sadly, the fire was short-lived. This public outrage died in few months, and with it, women's safety and women's issues took their usual place in the daily agenda. The Hathras case, where a Dalit woman was raped, the Faridabad shooting, where the young girl was shot. This was because she did not respond to a man's advances. The question keeps on coming up. Why? Why did this happen? Women are prayed as goddesses in our country, and in spite of that position and respect, the safety of women in India is always in question. Politicians say that women need to stay at home, that we shouldn't go out at night, we should wear clothes with zero skin visibility. But again, the question arises, why? Why do we need to change these things? Why can't men be taught better? Why can't men be told that there is something bigger than their ego? Why can't men be taught to respect the woman? So, ladies and gentlemen, my point is that education begins at home. And today I implore all of you to spread this word. Women don't need to stop anything. It is the mindset that needs to be changed. And change comes from within. I want all of you to talk to as many people as possible and spread the word and ask them to spread the word further. The women's safety depends totally on mentality. And if the proper education is provided, and by education I don't mean by physics, chemistry, or mathematics, but of equality, of respect, of humility, and of humanity, I am sure that the society will become a better place to live in. From why this has happened, from this transition, why women should be scared of their safety, This transition is in our hands, yours and mine, and I beseech you to spread your arms as wide as possible to make a better place. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, keep the applause going for Toastmaster Anisha Agarwal for wonderfully presenting her ideas through her speech. Why? And Toastmaster Anisha, the only thought that comes to my mind after I hear your wonderful speech is that दुर्गा का स्वरूप कहते हो, फिर क्यों बलात्कार करते हो? घर की लक्ष्मी कहते हो तो फिर क्यों कोख में मारते हो? You call me the avatar of Durga and yet you molest me. You call me Lakshmi and yet you kill me in the womb. Ladies and gentlemen, wonderful speech by Toastmaster Anisha Agarwal, moving ahead with the theme of the day and the story of Mahatma Gandhi. So ladies and gentlemen, as I told you, Gandhiji dropped the other slipper, and a perplexed onlooker, he just looked at Gandhiji and thought perhaps Gandhiji has gone crazy. Gandhiji looked at him in the eyes and smiled and explained to him, if someone is to find one of my shoes, I am hopeful, or hopefully he will find the other one too and make a pair for himself. What a man, ladies and gentlemen. What a wonderful instinct. And perhaps that is what differentiates Gandhiji from all other men. With that, allow me to welcome the second speaker on stage. But before that, can I have his evaluator, Toastmaster Shreya Goswami Ray, to state the speech objectives.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Our next speaker will be delivering his speech based on the project Reflect on Your Path. The purpose of this project is for the member to reflect on his growth during the completion of an entire path. Timer, please note that the time is 10 to 12 minutes. All the best, Toastmaster Ayush Vaidya. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Shreya. Now, when I asked the second speaker the same question, how do you consider giving to be more important than getting? And the speaker said, it's all about giving. Giving is very important. And when you don't expect anything in return, that's the greatest giving. Mentored by distinguished Toastmaster Siddharth Churiwal, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome with a huge round of virtual applause, Toastmaster Ayush Vaidya with the speech titled Forever, Forever, Toastmaster Ayush Vaidya. Toastmaster Ayush, are you there?
He doesn't seem to be in the meeting.
He was there. Kindly get in touch with him.
Should we wait or should we move on to the next speaker and maybe have Ayush next?
Yeah, we can do that. Meanwhile, we will try to connect with him.
Perfect. So, sorry for the inconvenience. Moving on to the next speaker for this evening, can I have his evaluator, Toastmaster Abhijit Roy, to state the speech objectives, please?
Sorry. Thank you, Toastmaster Gurpreet. Just a quick check on my audio video. Am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are.
Today, I would be evaluating Toastmaster Shaurya Roy, who would be delivering his final speech in his path Dynamic Leadership, the DTM project, second speech. Quickly read out the objectives of his project today. The purpose of his project is for him to demonstrate his skills as a leader and as a public speaker. The purpose of his second speech is for him to share some aspect of his experience completing the entire project. Timer, please keep note of the timing. The timing is 8 to 10 minutes. I wish Toastmaster Shaurya all the very best for his final speech in Dynamic Leadership Pathways. With that, over to you, Toastmaster Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Abhijit. Now, when I asked the speaker his perspective of giving, he said giving is very significant because it is only when you give is when you get. Welcoming Toastmaster Shaurya Roy with the speech titled The Key Conundrum, Toastmaster Shaurya Roy, the stage is all yours.
In your life, whenever everything seems to be going fine, let the world know about it. Act supremely confident and let the world know who's boss. And in your life, when everything seems to be out of control and you have absolutely no idea what you're doing in the first place, double back and act confident anyway. Don't let the world find out about your mess. And I was realizing all of this on a certain day in the month of July this year. A very good evening to each and everyone who is present in this meeting right now. Can I hear it back?
Good evening, Shaurya.
Good evening.
That's better.
Good evening, Toastmaster.
So it all began on a certain day in the month of April this year when I took up a certain responsibility in my workplace. It involved a bunch of keys which would be used to unlock the cash depository in the rural branch of the public sector bank in which I was employed. And my task was to manage that cash depository each and every day. My task was to ensure that there was adequate balance in that cash depository. And whenever there was overflow of balance, it was my job to send that extra balance to a bigger branch of my organization. And whenever there was lack of balance, it was my task to bring in extra amount of money from a bigger branch of my workplace. And that scared me. From the very beginning of my 3-year-old career, I was intimidated because of the risks this job associated with. Because the person who was in possession of the keys must always be present in the office each and every day, even when the office is located at the highway to hell. Now imagine a certain winter morning when you have just woken up and all you want to do is to sleep, but you can't do that when you are in possession of the keys. Imagine another day when suddenly either you or one of your family members suddenly get ill. But when you have the keys, you must first go to your office so that you can hand over the keys to someone else. And only then can you attend to yourself or your family member. And on the other hand, taking up this particular responsibility would mean staying at my office until 6 p.m. every day. And it would also mean effectively letting go of my habit of leaving at 5 p.m. on Fridays so that I could be in parks at around 7 p.m. All these reasons led me to decline this particular duty throughout 3 years of my career. And so, when I finally took up this particular responsibility in order to provide better support to my family, I thought, okay, bygones are bygones. And from this point on, I am going to work harder than ever and everything would be all right. That's what I thought. But what I failed to realize was that it did not matter what I thought. Because in the end, what mattered the most was the perspectives of my colleagues about my decision. In the end, it was only from their own unique perspectives that they were going to view my turnaround, and based on that, they were going to decide the level of cooperation they were going to provide to me. And boy, did they seem overjoyed about my decision. Congratulations! From this point on, you will never be able to leave early on Fridays. So happy for you. And in reply, I was like, okay, thank you. In those 2 days, what helped me was my experience. Because even though I had declined this particular duty on a permanent manner, I did take up the keys on temporary basis whenever the actual key holder was on leave. And hence, I had a clear idea regarding exactly how to go about the job. Of course, some of my colleagues were angry about my early refusals, and hence they did try to politic. But at that point of time, just as long as there was adequate balance in the cash depository, nothing else mattered. However, things did go sideways after 15 June 2020, when my boss was rendered COVID positive, and subsequently, all of us were sent to home isolation for 2 weeks. And at that scenario, Some staff members from other branches would visit our branch so that they could take over the keys in order to release us from our duties. And once we returned to our workplace in the first week of July, everything was out of place. The vault was overflowing, and at the same time, some registers and records were not updated. And in the end, it took me the entire month of July and a combination of supreme willpower, patience, and perseverance to keep things in order. All throughout the month of July, my boss would keep asking me about the state of things. Deep down, he knew about how abysmal things were. And deep down, he also knew that I knew he knew. And yet he would ask anyway. And I would also put up a confident expression and reply that everything's all right. And that's when I made that realization. And by that time, in the first week of August, when things were indeed all right, I was into depression. I would conjure limericks out of thin air and then I would make WhatsApp stories out of them. But the most brutal part of the duty was yet to come. And it involved an ATM machine which was located just adjacent to my workplace. Refilling that ATM machine was a nice job, and it even provided a stress buster amidst hours of customer dealings day after day. But the more challenging part came during the Fort Puja holidays. Because it was during this part of the year when the crowd rush was maximum as compared to the other months. And hence, there was an unsaid rule that the key holder must arrive at the workplace once during the Fort Puja holidays in order to refill the ATM. It was something which I had already experienced before in the year 2017. During that particular year, the actual key holder was going to an outstation trip, and hence he was to transfer the keys to someone else. And at that point of time, since I was the junior most employee, I was compelled into accepting the keys, and I hated every single part of it. So during this year, I decided to both retain the keys and to somehow skip this particular responsibility during Durga Puja. And in order for me to ensure both, some arrangements needed to be made. And hence, by making a special request to a bigger branch, I would bring in brand new currency notes so that we could squeeze more notes in the ATM machine. On 22nd of October 2020, just one day before the Puja holidays, we squeezed in 48 lakhs of coins into the ATM machine, which was way beyond the normal rate of 34 lakhs. And it only became possible because brand new notes took up less space than used notes inside the ATM machine. And as it turned out, this year was the first and the only year when the key holder was able to skip this particular brutality of a duty. Today, as I deliver my speech, 6 months have gone by since I took up the charge of the keys. During these 6 months, there were some times when everything seemed to go perfectly fine. And during these 6 months, there were also some times when I had no clue what I was doing, when everything was haywire. After surviving this roller coaster for 6 months, and after being able to skip the most brutal duty that was out there for me, today I can safely say that I am to an extent efficient at what I do. And yes, if I was given a choice, I would always prefer to go through the roller coaster over and over again. Thank you.
Wonderful, Toastmaster Shaurya Roy. Keep the applause going for Toastmaster Shaurya Roy. Toastmaster Shaurya, you should have told, perhaps, the next season of Money Heist can be shot at your bank since you're having the keys. Perhaps the professor can attack you at any point of time. Moving ahead, I'm not quite sure if Toastmaster Ayush is here in the meeting. Toastmaster Ayush?
I had called him. He said he's facing some network issues. So
Okay.
let's proceed.
Perfect. So, ladies and gentlemen, in this age of greed and scams and never-ending wants, we can perhaps take a lesson, a leaf out of Mahatma's textbook, as I was telling you. Now, I bet if you and I were in Mahatma's shoes, after the loss of that one shoe, we would have felt miserable. We would have cursed the engine driver, complained about the callousness of the railway system, and what not. We would have even worried as to what we would do once we reached the destination. And all this merely adds up to our misery. In fact, we are so worried about things we don't have that at times we don't focus on the things we have. And perhaps we can make a lot out of those things and use those things for the community at large. So, giving, ladies and gentlemen, is far more important than getting. Moving on to the most interesting session of any Toastmasters meeting, the table topic session, for which we all have been waiting. Now, to conduct this session, we have a lady who's relatively new to the club but has made her mark in the last few months. She carries tons of energy and an eternity of smile. Put your hands together for none other than Toastmaster Kirti Setia as the table topic master for the evening. Over to you.
Thank you. Could we hope I'm audible and visible clearly?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So when I heard the topic, the theme for today, I actually thought it's quite a heavy theme and it's such a festive mood. So I didn't want to, bring my topics also with that heavy note. But then when I hear you today, Repeat, and I heard Anand's experience about giving, and so many thoughts were coming to my mind during this meeting today. And I remember just when the lockdown had started, and everybody was in this mode of doing some charity work, of gifting. All the communities were collecting funds. I think that drive is kind of mellowed down now. People are tired of these drives. I don't know why. I think we need to keep on that energy. But so my experience was in my apartment, in my community. They were collecting some funds, and they're saying they will kind of distribute some meals in on the street. And I kept wondering, no, government is already doing so much. Why do we need to give food? Believe me, these thoughts were coming to me. Maybe we should do something else. And then, so this collection was happening, and we were just contemplating on what should be the amount each of us should do. And it was a lot of logical calculation. And that very day, my domestic help who stayed with me came home and told me she met somebody on the road while she was going to buy vegetables for my house, and in that 5 minutes you know walk that she took to the vegetable vendor, she met somebody from her locality, her basti as they call it. And that lady was little upset that she didn't have food and the work was not happening, and she just gave the whole month's ration to that lady and came back home. Like, this lady has gone to buy vegetables for my house, and without thinking, she bought a monthly complete ration with dal, chawal, rice, potatoes, everything for that lady, and came back home and said, I just know, she just asked me, and I was thinking, I'm sitting here since morning and calculating how much each of us should contribute. And look at her. I mean, I literally was feeling ashamed of myself. And I'm sure we all have many such instances where we kind of, though we always know that giving is important, but it's kind of a check, or a realization that happens every now and then. And I think we should just hang on to that and learn every day from life. So anyway, I want to make this a little fun session and want to make it a little lighter. So I bought topics according to that. Can we have the first volunteer for the evening? Okay, Achyut, let's start with you. Now, I'll give you a fun topic. Hopefully you will have something, some take. Okay, now Achyut, I've changed the topic because it's you. Okay, I want to give you something different. So my first topic for you, Achyut, is, okay, I just want to mention that you'll have minimum of 1.5 minutes and a maximum of 2.5 minutes to talk about this topic. So Achyut, your topic is gifts have ribbon, not string.
Please repeat,
Gifts, gifts have ribbons, not strings. Clear, Achyut?
Yeah. Gifts have ribbons, not strings. Strings are what connects something. Why do we use a string? The brief reason which comes to my mind is to tie something. Now, you enclose an object. Let's say I want to gift someone a cup. I put the cup in a box. I shut the box, and then I use a string to tie the box so that the gift doesn't fall out. But after that, I wrap it with a piece of paper, and then I tie a ribbon on it. Now, this string is what holds the gift intact. There is a certain value to it. If the string was not there, what would have happened? It's quite possible that the cup, being heavy, would fall out of its box and maybe break. But the ribbon on top is what differentiate. Now, okay, so I've sort of helped you picturize a box with a ribbon on top. Now, imagine another box which has a cup and it has a string, but it does not have a ribbon. The first one looks like a gift with a beautiful ribbon. It has color. It is attractive. The second one looks like a parcel or something which your mom cleaned up during her Diwali, and 20 years later, it's still kept in the attic and Diwali is about to come. The reason why we wrap that gift with a vibrant ribbon is to show that whatever we want to give to someone, be it a cup or be it what you mean by a cup in terms of any other gift, you use the ribbon to display that vibrancy, that love, the care beyond which you're giving a gift. And this is appropriate because I'm someone who hates wrapping, and I have 5 sisters at home. Every Rakhi, I give gifts to my sisters and I get it back, saying, until you wrap this, you're not going to take it. And then I realized that the value is not with the gift or how I string it up and give it, but with the ribbon. And that ribbon is a significance of effort. Of they want me to take my heart and soul in thinking about the gift and giving it to them with that love. So the ribbon is what ties the love, and it's a sort of bond how we express. And that's why I believe gifts should always be tied with ribbons. Thank you, Toastmaster, Table Topic Master.
Thank you, Achut. That was quite a take. Thank you. And 5 sisters, wow, that's a task, man. I know it's a lot of job to give gifts to sisters. They'll never be happy no matter what you give them, however well you tie them. So I appreciate that effort, though it'll never be giving you the results you expect. Okay, can we have the next volunteer, please? Okay, Madam Archita. Archita, again, you guys are making me shift to some other topics. Okay, because
make your
in
job
my head,
any
I have an
easier?
easy topic, but then when I look at the speaker, I'm like, no, not for you. Okay, so Archita, your topic is gifting is a privilege. Gifting is a privilege.
In this world, everyone wants to speak, everyone wants to be heard, but nobody wants to listen. In this world, everyone wants to receive, everyone wants to be gifted, but very few want to gift. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am here today to tell you about how gifting is something that we never cherish. It becomes a task for most of us, as already demonstrated by the speaker right before me. What we don't seem to understand or realize is that you are lucky because you have someone to give that gift to. I'll give you a small story from my life. Ever since or all throughout my school life, my best friend Sakshi is one of, or today she's living in another city. So during that time, during her birthday, it would become impossible to select a gift for her. She is very, very choosy about things. She's one of those people who will not use any regular items, has no idea of stationery, has zero fetish for dresses or any form of makeup clips or anything that you would probably give to someone, and does not read books. What do you give to a person like that? Every year on her birthday, I would crib about how difficult it is to find a gift for her. Today, almost a decade later after school life, I miss going through that trouble. I miss finding the gift for her because that was a roadie's task that I no longer get to do. So years later, I can tell you that gifting is a privilege. It's not a burden. Don't look at it like that. Enjoy it. Cherish every moment of it. Put a humongous amount of effort. Because believe it or not, when you gift someone something, you bring a smile on their faces, and that smile brightens your day. When you gift someone something, you make them feel amazing. And in return, you feel valued. You feel that you have the love of someone who's going to be there with you. So it's not actually their gain, it's yours. So gifting is your privilege. Make sure you keep enjoying it. Thank you. Kirti, you're on mute.
That was beautiful, Archita. Thank you so much. Wow, what a take! In fact, there was this forward which keeps coming where this man who actually goes to buy a gift for one of his staff members, and he goes and says to the shopkeeper, "Yeah, kuch, show me something cheap and yeah, like okay types, and I want to just give it to my staff. I don't need anything fancy." And this, in 5 minutes later, they show the staff going to that same shop and getting a gift for their boss and saying, "Show me the best that you have." I think I think that's the approach we need to understand, that when you give something, we shouldn't always say, just show me anything. I am not buying it for myself. I'm buying it as a gift. I've heard this many times, even in my practical situations where we go buying gifts and say, just show me something not very expensive, not very exclusive, because I'm buying it as a gift. Or if they show something expensive, we say, nahi, itna mehanga nahi chahiye, humko to gift dena hai. So we do that. And I think we need to work on that. It's again, learning every day, right? With all our situations. Okay, perfect. So let's go to the next volunteer. We don't have much time because we might have the third speaker. Okay, Ankit. So this topic we'll give to a Toastmaster. And the next one, I would want a guest to volunteer. So get ready while we hear Ankit. Ankit, your topic is the funniest gift I have received. Ankit, can you hear me clearly? The funniest gift I have received. Ankit, you're not audible. You check your microphone. Now you are on mute. Oh, it's not working. Yeah, I think now it's good. No, Ankit, we still can't hear you.
Try removing your earphones and then speak.
No.
No. Just unplug your earphones.
Am I audible now?
Yes, Ankit, it's working now. Please go ahead. The funniest gift I have received.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. The funniest gift I have received was a book on autobiography on Mahatma Gandhi. Coincidentally, Mahatma Gandhi is what Gurpreet Singh has been talking about, the Toastmaster of the throughout the day. And why do I call it the funniest gift? Because I was not really fond of autobiographies before I started reading this one. So I did not take it very seriously. And although I am a very vivid reader, but I started reading the autobiography and it really changed me as a person. So till date, I really feel that the funniest gift I have received is autobiography of Mahatma Gandhi. Although yes, the principles of Mahatma Gandhi, I would like to use the word of the day, ubiquitous, are not ubiquitous these days. And we are talking on Mahatma Gandhi today, but I would say that taking cue from what it was discussed today, Mahatma Gandhi threw one of his shoes from the train, and that was also a kind of gift he was giving without any privilege. And that's how I will end my speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Ankit. That was a good take. Okay, so Babu, are you a guest? Can you unmute yourself?
Yes, I am a guest. I actually got this link from Gurpreet.
Okay, sure. So would you like to take the next topic?
Yes, I will try.
Yes. So I'll give you topic which you can, don't really have to worry about too much. So your next topic is the best gift to give this festival in these festival times. So maybe you can
The
just share
best
your
gift
thoughts on
to
that.
give, actually, it will sound funny, but the instinct that came within seconds is a face mask.
Okay.
Yes, yes. Because festivals every year means we are gathering, and what we have to prohibit ourselves from gathering. And that's if someone is not having a mask, I will like to carry some extra masks in my pocket and give them to him, or the person who is not having a mask. Because uh, along with gathering, we also need to protect ourselves, and we also need to um, carry on our work after this festival season is over. Because if we fall ill, then we will not be able to go to our work, and after the this happiness of festival, we will not feel happy. Yeah, that's what I think the best gift for this festive seasons, especially.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So I think we've all learned our lesson today. And to summarize what Bawal said in one line is like, if you don't have mask and if you carry, you, uh, you might be happy during the festival, but you'll not be happy after it.
After the
After the festival. Okay, I think that's a wonderful take. So I think, Madam President, we should end the table topic now so that we can go back to our speaker, right?
Yes, of course.
Okay, that was a fun session for me. I thoroughly enjoyed my role as a table topic master. I hand it back to our very own. So, as I said, table Toastmaster of the throughout the day. Now, I think we've given you a new role, Toastmaster throughout the day, Gurpreet Singh. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Kirti Sethia. Keep the applause going for Toastmaster Kirti Sethia. I think we should not be so miserly. We can just unmute ourselves for a second and do that. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Kirti Sethia. It was just wonderful. And so much of giving and getting stuff. Let me tell you, I'm open to receiving, so that I've given you too much of advice on giving. So you could just give me. I'm open. I'll post my shipment address in the chat box soon. Moving on, we finally have the third speaker here for the day, presenting Toastmaster Ayush Vedya. Now, when I asked him his opinion about giving, he said it's all about giving. And when you give without expecting, it's the biggest gift that you give. So calling upon Toastmaster Ayush Vedya with the speech title, Forever, Forever, Toastmaster Ayush Vedya. The stage is all yours.
Before starting, I want to check, am I clearly visible and audible?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Thank you, and a special mention for Toastmaster Shreya for allowing me to deliver the speech. Thank you for that, means a lot. 10th July 2020, delivered my icebreaker from my first pathways, and 30th of October, that is today, I am delivering my pathway completion speech. Neither I expected this nor anyone else. Let's backtrack to the track when I started my trek in Toastmasters. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and my dear guest. June 2015, I visited Kolkata Chambers of Commerce for the first time. I vividly remember DTM Naveen Mishra handsomely suited up. I was astonished to see Mohammad Afzal, the former president of KTM. He is my childhood friend. I was incessantly preparing for my introduction. My name is Ayush Vaidya, and I'm a member. I'm into second year of Bhawanipur College, and I came to know about Toastmasters through my friend Priya, who is a VP membership in your club. And I was highly strung until my introduction was done. 1st August 2015, I was officially the member of KTM. Initially, I wasn't methodical attending meetings. 15 Jan 2016, I delivered my first icebreaker from the old pathways. My start was slow, but the flow of attending the meetings was good. Steadily, my love for KTM grew enormously. I only omitted KTM meetings if I was out of town. I developed wonderful friendship with many. Vishal, Siddharth, Narayan, Mukund, Rashmi, Anshuman, Vinita, Alisha, to just name a few. All these are amazing friends, especially Vishal, Mukund, Rashmi. They are gem of a person. 500 milestone meeting was imminent and imminent. Afzal was a president that time. We wanted to celebrate in the finest way. Afzal and I traveled to Vedic village to analyze and finalize the location. That location belonged to one of our members, Girish Takwani. I remember DTM Siddharth, Afzal and I had a meeting in Girish Takwani's office regarding the 500 meeting at Vedic. 16 December 2017 was the day of our celebration. I had ridden 28 kilometers on the bike at 6 in the morning to reach Vedic village early to manage everything just for my club KTM. I was in the AC member, so what I wanted to do for my club, for my KTM. That meeting left an indelible mark in everyone's heart. May 2018 was a time to celebrate one decade of Toastmasters of KTM. That meeting, KTM, the oldest club in Eastern India. Narayan and I started to look for the best location in Kolkata, and after visiting 5 different locations, we finally found the best one known as Hotel Hindustan International. I was the host of the meeting. I visited DTM Naveen twice just to prepare for my big role for the big day. I wasn't in the EC member at that time too, but for my love for KTM pulled me to give my time and my energy. After mid 2018, I had taken a break, and 1st January 2020, I rejoined. Lockdown happened, and competent communication was valid only till 30th June 2020. I finished my remaining 4 speeches to finish my competent communication. I genuinely wished to deliver my last speech of CC in KTM, but I could not. July 2020 was a new term for Toastmasters, and I thought I should enter EC and work immensely for the club because I thought if without being in the EC, I can be so passionate for my club KTM, then being in the EC, I can give everything. Unfortunately, I could not get into EC, but fortunately, I was asked to take up the same post in an advanced club, and from there, my pathways journey took off. I focused totally on the speeches. Again, my start was slow. Delivered my icebreaker in KTM on 10th of July and then one more in 11th July. Initially, I was facing trouble delivering virtually speeches, just like screen sharing problem, not able to witness the timer card. As the day passed, I was accustomed to online speeches. I made a point not to back out at any cost from any slot. My mentor, DTM Siddharth, immensely assisted to enhance my speeches and mentored me at great celerity. I remember midnight calls with him. In my journey of an advanced club as the vice president membership, I observed rarely other clubs knew the pattern of an advanced club. I wanted to solve this problem as a leader, and I did not want my future leaders to face the same issue. An idea struck my mind to have a meeting of all district champions, and the permission was granted by my president to hold the meeting. 30th August was the day finalized for that meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, I had taken the full responsibility of that meeting, from selecting the role players to briefing the role players. I got the opportunity to talk to numerous champions across District 41. DTM Abdul, DTM Naveen, Mayank Mohta were the role players in that meeting. I made sure to have KTM members as the role plays. I put my blood and sweat for this meeting along with my team, left no stone unturned to create that massive hype and buzz in the district. I wanted to spread that like a fire, and everybody would know about the Camp of Champ meeting. 600 plus registrations we have got. That meeting was to start in an hour. I was really nervous, but deep down I knew it will be a big one. 4:35, I joined the meeting and saw already 46 participants, and at sharp 4:55 there were roughly 150 participants. Look at the excitement of the members. Even before the meeting started, we had 150 plus members. Meeting was a huge success with more than 450 members from 9 countries. That feeling cannot be expressed through words. It can be only felt in heart. We created a world record in the district of holding the most number of members in a meeting. Toastmaster Vishal Churiwal, who has attended more than 10 district conference and has utmost experience of all this, Vishal commented, and I quote, "The Camp of Cham meeting sounds like a 2-hour district conference. Bravo." Our district director, DTM Nimish, complimented, saying that Ayush, there was a lot of talk about the meeting. Proud to have such dynamic leaders in our district. I got numerous compliments regarding the great idea to the great PR work we did. But the weightage of all this compliment is still less compared to that one compliment that I got from a KTM member saying, "Akhir अपना KTM का बंदा ही मीटिंग ऑर्गेनाइज किया ना." After all, this meeting was organized by our KTM boy. I cannot sum up the felicity after that particular compliment. I am grateful to Mr. President Gaurav and my VP Education DTM Jennifer for having faith in me for the meeting. This pathway has given me a new path in Toastmasters journey. Thanks to DTM Ayan, DTM Arnav, DTM Siddharth, and DTM Kunal, they all revived my Toastmasters journey. I went on delivering back to back speeches in different clubs across district, taken up the roles of TMOD, G, evaluator, as well in different club meetings. Whenever I got the opportunity, I grabbed it instantly and with no expectation. I completed 5 levels in just 3 months and 10 days. I never knew I was the first one and the fastest one in Division K and Q to achieve this feat. Someone else informed me to check it on TI website, and there I gained the knowledge that I was the seventh person to submit 5 educational award in district this year and the first in Kolkata. I believe the body can withstand almost anything. It's just your mind needs to be convinced. I did not limit myself. I went beyond my limitations. I have taken almost 4 years to deliver 10 speeches, but now it took less than 4 months to deliver 15 speeches. I am again saying I am grateful to my mentor, Siddharth Churiwal, for mentoring me swiftly. Whatever I have learned in Toastmasters is because of KTM. Whatever small achievements I have is because of KTM. Whatever I have changed in myself in a positive way is because of KTM. I have learned immensely from few leaders such as DTM Naveen, DTM Siddharth, DTM Kunal, Toastmaster Vishal, Afzal, Mayank, George, Shaurya, etc. All these members have always supported me and have helped me to enhance not only in the journey of Toastmasters but in my life too. I have an emotional attachment with my club. Even though I could not renew due to some reason, I would never hesitate to say that I'm still a member of KTM. Everyone knows me as a KTM member, and I will never let that assumption go away. Do you know why I'm wearing this pink tee? While wearing this and delivering a speech, I got my first Best Speaker award on 26th May 2017, delivering my P4 from CC in KTM. Everything is stuck here crystal clear. I can never let my club down. My club is my pride, and I am the pride of my club. I had a small dream to work in the EC of my club, and someday it will come true. That day, with my experience and with my passion for my club, I will take my club to the greatest level in the entire district. I wish to submit my DTM education file here someday in KTM. I feel immensely proud to deliver my Pathways completion speech here, which also marks the start of a new pathway. Everyone respects and bow down to the place they learn from. Assuming this platform as a KTM platform, let me bow down here too. I am a member, I was a member, and I will always be a member of KTM. Any doubt on that, TMOD?
Wonderful going, Toastmaster Ayush Vedya. We congratulate you on your achievements. Keep the applause going for Toastmaster Ayush Vedya. It indeed is definitely a proof of giving and getting. Toastmaster Ayush, we seriously believe that you have given, you have put in a lot of effort, and you are getting what you are. So it's time we shift focus, ladies and gentlemen. Instead of jostling in the crowd to be a go-getter, wanting more and more and more, it's time we become go-givers instead of go-getters. With that, I would like to pass on this virtual podium to Mr. General Evaluator, who will evaluate the meeting with the help of the tag players. Over to you, Mr. General Evaluator, Toastmaster Anik Datta.
Thank you so much, Mr. Toastmaster of the Day. Thank you so much for introducing the general evaluation section. Me, along with my evaluators, have the best thing that we can give to all of you, and that is great evaluation so that you can improve in your future speeches. Without much delay, let me start with the evaluation of the prepared speech section. Our first speaker was Toastmaster Anisha, evaluated by Toastmaster Achyut. I would request you to come on the virtual podium and deliver your evaluation for Toastmaster Anisha.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator. Good evening, Toastmasters and Anisha in particular. Why? Beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder, and Toastmaster Anisha's attempt to inspire us to change our perspective was thought-provoking. The project objectives quickly was partially met. Here's why. To inspire someone, you need to create an awareness or a curiosity. Anisha did that with a brilliant question, and she moved us by the emotional force in her speech. But a little bit of less interaction was one of the goals which were not met. Now, from moving on from why, what made Anisha's speech one to remember? There was a logical flow. By using the word beauty, she invoked curiosity. Her recollection of incidents which were not so great incidents across India's beleaguered past created awareness, and then she moved on to sharing a solution. This body of a speech was lit up by using rhetorical devices, literary devices, metaphors and analogies in the form of codices, and rich diction. A couple of words which come to my mind are beseech, her awareness to use the word of the day, ubiquitousness. This showed a great solid body which was accentuated by the ubiquitous power in her speech. This is something which Anisha has grown to deliver, and it shows in her practice and her delivery. However, the how of how Anisha can make her speech better, I have 3 recommendations for that. One, while the voice modulation was powerful in the right places, the solemn moments where she needed to lower her voice was done just once. Sadly, the fire was short-lived. This line showed that Anisha has the potential, but she did not exercise it as much in other aspects of her speech where she needed to go low, mellow, and evoke to the audience and their emotion. The other elements, there were lots of elements in Anisha's speech, examples, questions, statements, opinions, messages, but what was missing was a pause to drive home all of this. And my final recommendation would be that the speech developed gradually. Now, here's the 6-minute mark, but Anisha hit her crescendo a minute earlier. Her body was brilliant, but to inspire the audience, she needed actionable advice in the end, which she started off well, but it lacked a little bit of substance. Summarizing my take on Anisha's speech, the objectives were partially met because it lacked a little bit of interaction, but the logical flow and the rich bodied, which was delivered powerfully, made it something worth listening to. But from good to great, Anisha needed to soften, pause at the right moments, at the right times, and finally emphasize on action. This will truly answer all of the questions which Anisha has asked of the audience. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Achyut, for a beautiful evaluation following the CRC approach. And I completely agree with the recommendations given by him that Toastmaster Anisha, today, when you're trying to inspire an audience, I look for three things in a speech which inspires. That is, where are we currently present? What do you want to take the audience to, and how? The first part was wonderfully met. You created the crisis. Why do you need to inspire us? But as Toastmaster Achyut pointed out, the call to action and the state that you want to take the audience to was a little missing in your speech. If you can add that portion, then this why would be even it would be even a greater speech. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Achyut and Toastmaster Anisha, for your speech. Let me now move on to the second speaker. The second speaker today was Toastmaster Shaurya. He was evaluated by Toastmaster Abhijit. Toastmaster Abhijit, I request you to come on the virtual podium and deliver your evaluation.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator Anik. We all are Toastmasters, and we all understand that the current curriculum is pathways, of which level 5 is the final one. Toastmaster Shaurya delivered his final speech, which is the second speech distinguished Toastmaster of his dynamic leadership pathways. As a speaker, let me tell you something. You are a speaker which shows your dynamic leadership qualities in your speech which you delivered today. Now, here are the few points which I would demonstrate the way you made your speech feel special and as a distinguished Toastmaster. Number one, what you did best, personal anecdotes. We all have been saying this repeatedly that personal anecdotes brings in a strong connection, and you did it absolutely right. You proved it by bringing in personal anecdotes into your speech to prove that your speech has a start till the end. You had a connection which hooked me as an audience, who heard the speech from start till the end. Number two, you had good clarity of thoughts. The way you started off in your journey as a bank official, and you clearly demonstrated your struggles and your challenges that you faced, and at last you had a message not as a general statement, message of how you overcome that challenge which you had when you started off your speech. So these two elements were really put forward in a very subtle way, where you demonstrated a clear indication of good leadership qualities. Now, few observations. This is the number two which I want to bring it on. The observations are, if you are delivering your final speech of your Toastmasters pathways, there's a lot of expectations from the audience. Now you are already a senior Toastmaster, and there will be a lot of expectations. What you could have done better is, when I clearly read out the objectives of your particular speech, it was looking in for some elements of your skills to show how you grew as a leader and a better speaker. I think that element was something which was missing in your speech, which I really could, I tried to find out from each aspects of your speech, but I really couldn't get the connect of where you demonstrated yourself as a good speaker and as well as a profound leader. Number two, this is a DTM speech which you delivered. What you could have done better is actually showed the entire audience of how you actually went up to face those challenges from level 1 to level 5 and how you came out successful. All in all, a speech which has a lot of takeaways, lot of learnings from all the Toastmasters in the forum, couple of few recommendations which I just made will actually make your journey in Toastmasters go to the very next level. I wish you all the very best for your upcoming pathways. With that, over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Abhijit, for beautifully summarizing your evaluation. Small recommendation for you: if you can structure the commendation and the recommendation according to the time, then in the overall summarization, you can also mention it, because you just mentioned if you can take care of the recommendations, but you can also mention what the recommendations in the summary as well. That would have helped the speaker. And completely agreeing with Toastmaster Abhijit, Toastmaster Shaurya, very beautiful chronology in your speech. From the very first moment till the last, we can feel what you went through, your experiences. But as Toastmaster Abhijit was pointing out, what is something that we can learn, that everybody of us can learn from your experience, those leadership abilities? If you can just clearly point it out at the end, that these are some of the things which I have learned in my life's experience, which can help you probably in these situations, would clearly carry the message forward to the audience. With that, let me move to the third speaker. The third speaker was Toastmaster Ayush, and I request Toastmaster Shreya, his evaluator, to come on the virtual podium and deliver her evaluation.
A very good evening to all of you once again, and especially Toastmaster Ayush Vaidya. First of all, Ayush, take a bow. Take a bow for your love, passion, and pride for Kolkata Toastmasters Club. You are an all-rounder in communication. You effectively used your hand gestures and vocal variety to give life to your words. Like when you said you grabbed the opportunity and you always stressed on the word KTM, which reflected your pride for the fraternity. Also, it was inspiring. Whenever I feel down, I'll recall your words. Only the mind needs to be convinced. And kudos to you. In spite of the network connectivity and all the technical hitches, you came back. Hats off to you on that. No wonder you're the fastest one from Kolkata to complete 5 levels. And I'm sure that your second pathway, for which I have few recommendations. First, if you could show us some pictures of the special moments, of the special meetings that you mentioned, we could have visualized them. We could have missed being in those meetings. And also, like when you said that you received the best
Did we lose Toastmaster Shreya? Can anyone just check with her?
Yes, she's back.
Okay, fair enough. Toastmaster Shreya, if you are back
sorry,
with us.
I felt some yeah, I was facing some network issues. Okay, so I'll start with the recommendations once. Yeah, timer, please see to it. So I'm sure as you'll start your second pathway, you for which I have few recommendations. First, if you could have shown us some pictures of the spatial meetings, of the memories, the impact would have been different. Like you could have shown the best speaker ribbon that you had received on that day. Second, while your hand gestures are perfect, once you patted your heart, and after a few seconds, you mentioned the word hurt. So there was a mismatch in that area. And finally, adhering to the speech objectives, I'd expected some aspects of the projects on the pathways. What you learned when you deliver speeches adhering to certain projects, which would have tempted me to choose that path. But all said and done, kudos to you on various aspects, your vocal variety, your hand gestures, your passion, your love for KTM. And you are indeed a pride of Kolkata Toastmasters Club. And I'm sure with the recommendations, your icebreaker soon. Thank you so much. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Shreya, for the beautiful evaluation with all the commendations and recommendations. And Toastmaster Ayush, you were superb today. The best thing that I want to commend you on is I have seen Toastmasters showing their passion for speaking, for being a Toastmaster. But the way you showed your passion for being a member of KTM, that was something which I take back from your speech. The way someone is so passionate about one's own home club, that was very commendable. And I completely agree with the recommendation provided by Toastmaster Shreya. I was looking for some nuances, some experiences of your journey in this particular pathway so that the others, especially the new members, the guests, they also get a glimpse of what the picture is for them, of what the story is for them in the future. With that, we complete the prepared speech section's evaluation. And now let me move on to the table topics. We had 4 table topic speaker today. The first speaker was Toastmaster Achyut. Your topic was gifts have ribbons, not strings. For me, it would have been a difficult topic. Right away, the first speaker, and you really handled it well. You took some time gathering your thoughts in the beginning because you were figuring out what the topic was. To challenge you in such situations, if you ever face, what I personally do is I try to imagine those objects. So the moment, say, you imagine a ribbon, a happy face comes to your mind, like something good, a gift, a wrapped thing, object. The moment you imagine a string, it's like any other object. So that will click and you will get the idea, okay, this is what I'm trying to speak. But the towards the end, you told us about the joy of gifting, about how it makes special, the ribbon itself makes the gift special. So thank you for that. Thank you for sharing your thought on this topic. Next, let me move on to the second speaker, Toastmaster Archita. Gifting is a privilege. Toastmaster DTM Archita, I really have no recommendations for you. But what every one of us can learn from DTM Archita is, even if table topics is something which we speak impromptu, but it's nothing less than a prepared speech. You need to have an introduction. You greet the table topic master. You have your personal stories. You have your opinion, and then you come to a conclusion. That's a perfect table topic, and that is something which every one of us takes from your speech. Thank you, DTM Archita, for that wonderful take on the table topic. Then let me move on to Toastmaster Ankit. Your speech was on the funniest gift that I've ever received. And it was indeed a nice take when you said about the autobiography that you have received. But what I was expecting was to tell us more on why it was funny, maybe some aspects of the book, something that you liked, something that was funny from the book, something, so that you could have worked more on the speech. You had a lot of time left, so you could have worked on that. You can keep practicing on table topics, and you would improve with that. And our final table topic speaker was Babu. I believe, yeah, the guest Babu. Your topic was the best gift that you could give to the festive season, and probably, I mean, faster than the speed of light, you got the answer: face mask. And that's indeed the best gift that you can give to every one of us. What I liked about your speech, you being a guest, is you not only told what would be the gift, but also justified why that is the best gift. That is sometimes we miss when we are asked to speak on such topic. We generally speak about the object, but then forget to justify why that's the best gift. And you did that pretty well. Kudos to you, and look forward to you again on the stage of table topics. With that, I complete the evaluation of the speakers, and now it's time for my role players to share their report on how the entire session was. So let me begin with the timer. Toastmaster Oishika, if you're ready with your report, could we have the report on all the timings? The virtual podium is yours.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Well, these are the times taken by everyone. And as you can see, there is a green colored qualified beside everyone's name. So everyone is eligible for voting. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Oishika, for letting us know that everyone is qualified. Kudos to everyone. Next, let me move on to the R counter for today, played by Toastmaster Anam. If you have your report ready, come on to the virtual podium and share it with us. Over to you, Toastmaster Anam.
Yes, thank you. So here's my report. Just a second. Toastmaster Gurpreet Singh said so twice and once. Toastmaster Deepak Bair said once. Toastmaster Achyut Todi said thrice and so once. Toastmaster Anisha Agarwal said thrice and once. Toastmaster Kirti Sethia said so once, twice, and once. Toastmaster Shaurya Roy said so and Toastmaster Ankit Agarwal said, sorry, twice. Toastmaster Archita Tiwari said actually once. Guest Babu said twice, once, and so once. Toastmaster Ayush Vedya said once and like once. Toastmaster Abhijit Roy said actually twice and once. Other than that, all of y'all got a smooth green line in my report. Thank you so much. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Anam. That's again, as I say, one of the most creative way to give out the report of the R counter. Thank you so much and kudos to you. And now let me move on to the grammarian for today, Toastmaster Deepak. Toastmaster Deepak, you have the virtual podium to present your report for all of us.
Good evening, everyone, once again. Some of the good usages of grammar that I noticed in the meeting were what a wonderful instinct, disheartening yet blatant truth, horrendous and gruesome crimes. Some of the not so good usages of grammar were what is the amount each of us should do, would be what is the amount each of us should pay. You feel value would be you feel valuable. I did not took it seriously would be I did not take it seriously. We have to prohibit ourselves would be we have to restrict ourselves. 600 registration we have got would be we had got 600 registrations. And Anisha and Toastmaster Ankit Agarwal, Toastmaster Anisha Agarwal and Toastmaster Ankit Agarwal used word of the day. So a round of applause for all of them. Oh, and Toastmaster Achyut as well. My bad, I missed it, but that's okay. So a round of applause for all of them. And back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Deepak, for laying out the grammarian's report for all of us. With that, let me move to Toastmaster Piyush for sharing the wow moments with us. Are you ready, Toastmaster Piyush? The virtual podium is all yours.
Yeah. Thank you, General Evaluator. Today, my role was the hardest, I would say, because every speaker who comes up to the podium is just wow. Like, I can give at least 15 wow moments, and I cannot compare one with another. So, by the way, uh, top three wow moments. Number three, I would like to give to the Toastmaster Anisa's speech, like detail, like why. The topic itself was wow. Because in current situation, it's a very imminent question. Why this is happening? I ask this question every day. After I watch news channels, I ask this question every day. Why this is happening? So kudos to that. Number two is Toastmaster Gurpreet's impromptu shairi on Durga ka avatar, on goddess Durga, was just wow. Like you just slayed it, man. And the top wow moment I would like to give to the whole speech of Toastmaster Ayush. Like you completed 5 levels in 3 months and 10 days. Is that even possible for a human being? It's the wow moment of this pandemic. Like not of this just this, like this year. How can you give 15 speeches in 4 months? You truly said that your body can withstand anything, just need to convince your mind. Apart from these, a few moments which were equally wow, like the story that our president shared in the beginning, or one sleeper syndrome story of Mahatma Gandhi by Toastmaster Gurpreet, or the slaying session of table topic master Kirti Sethia, or how every time Toastmaster Archita impromptu speech feels like prepared speech. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Piyush. I just relived the entire session once again. And thanks to you and thanks to KTM for having such a wonderful role. I am introduced to this role for the very first time. I'm so happy about it. Let me move on to the final role player today, that is the parliamentarian played by DTM Archita. DTM Archita, can we have your report on the virtual podium? All yours.
Thank you, General Evaluator Toastmaster Anik. Most of the parliamentary norms were followed. I just feel that we used a couple of short forms like TMOD. Let's try to avoid them and say Toastmaster of the Day. And along with that, the chat box, I felt like I scared everybody away probably by saying that let's try to keep the chat box a little clean and let's try to not probably write things that might hurt. I didn't mean that you shouldn't write anything at all because after every speech, somebody or the other posts some kind of a compliment which wasn't there today. So, guys, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean that at all. And other than that, all the other parliamentary norms were followed. Thank you so much. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, DTM Archita. I hope in the next session people start using the chat box more for the feedbacks and their opinions. Thank you so much. Thank you, all the role players. Can we have a big round of applause for all the role players? They did a fantastic job today. Thank you so much. Now I'll quickly summarize my evaluation of the entire session. We started sharp on time at 7 o'clock. And kudos to the Sergeant at Arms as well as the EC for getting all the role players ready and starting the meeting right on time. I have no recommendation for you, Toastmaster Anam, because you beautifully opened the session, explained the rules, and you introduced the president. Thank you so much for that. Coming to the president, Toastmaster Shreya, you welcomed the guest, you welcomed the Toastmaster of the day, and you also had a story. One thing that you can work on, or one small recommendation from my end, is what a Toastmaster of the day does. You can explain in a line or two for the benefit of the guests and also for the new members that he or she acts as the anchor for the entire session and leads the entire session through. Maybe that can be a part of your introduction of the Toastmaster of the day. Coming to the Toastmaster of the day, fantastic topic, wonderful theme that you have taken up. No recommendation on your content because you had your own prepared speech as well as impromptu. So everything was there. You had your prepared speech, you had a table topic, you had your day. You are like Toastmaster all through the day. And what every one of us or the future Toastmaster of the day can learn from him was he beautifully explained all the sections of the meeting and the way he introduced all the role players and the speakers after taking the objectives from the evaluators. So the entire structure of a Toastmaster session was upheld, and that is one of the primary job of a Toastmaster of the day, and he did perfectly well. Kudos to you and wonderfully done. Coming to the table topic master, Toastmaster Keerti, wonderful story. I really loved that story of yours about your maid. Even that was a wow moment for me. You had beautiful topics. You mentioned about the time. One small thing that you could have mentioned was that guests can change their topics, which Toastmaster doesn't have the privilege to. But thank you, everyone. That's my report on all the role players. And I would like to have mention a special thanks to the table topic master and the Toastmaster of the day for finishing the session well within time. We had three speakers, table topic speakers, and yet we are having a session with less than 1 hour 45 minutes. Kudos to both of you because you both are the responsible ones for that. Thank you so much. And I pass on the virtual podium back to you, Toastmaster Gurpreet. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Anik. Keep the applause going for Toastmaster Anik Dutta as the general evaluator for this evening. Now, I won't take much time. As it is, I have been praised for being on time. So I'll pass on the virtual podium to Madam President with a mellifluous voice. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of Kolkata Toastmasters Club, Toastmaster Shreya Goswami Ray.
Thank you, Toastmaster Gurpreet. And what can I say about today's meeting? I'm spellbound. We should call the white meeting of Kolkata Toastmasters Club. Congratulations, Anisha, for completing level 2. Ayush, I don't know what I should congratulate you for because there's a sack full of things you should be congratulated for. And Toastmasters Shaurya, what can I say? DTM second speech says it all.
Toastmaster Kirti and Toastmaster Gurpreet, wonderful job done. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Anik and Toastmaster Arijit, for gracing today's. And now, since we had been appreciated for our sense of timing and time, and I request the cake master to launch today's. We'll have 30 seconds to cast your votes. Cake master, please. And in the meanwhile, I'll request some guests to kindly share their feedback about today's meeting. For tonight,
Hello.
please go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Hello. Sorry, there is some network interruption on my side. I think I'm not able to hear your voices very clear. I hope you're able to hear my voice clearly. If so, give me a thumbs up. Can someone please speak something so that I can know I'm getting some voice?
Akash, can you hear us?
Yes, yes, yes. Now I got the connection back. Thank you, thank you. Good evening, guys. Actually, I again, like last time, I told ma'am that I wanted to speak. Again, today the month end is going on. So I was rushed up with work. So I'm actually working on 2 laptops now. This is my personal laptop for the meeting and the other is right out by my side where I'm completing the report. By tomorrow in night 11, I'll have to be giving that. So I couldn't speak out for that and I'm sorry. Next time I'll definitely try to do that. Overall, the meeting was fantastic. I think the Toastmasters of the day did the very great example of Mahatma Gandhi, and it was a very good example. And I really like that story which he mentioned of. And that's what I can say. The meeting was really good, and I really like the time that it was followed this time. That we could see that 8:45 the meeting got over. Generally, this meeting takes slightly longer than that. So I think the time factor was really considered very well in this meeting. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have Toastmaster from another club, Toastmaster Ankit Agarwal. I'd like him to share that. Toastmaster Ankit, will you please share feedback? Okay, we'll get offline. And for announcing today's result, I request Toastmaster Ayush Varda as a mark of honor for his pride for Kolkata Toastmasters Club. Ayush, it doesn't matter your membership status in Kolkata Toastmasters Club. I'm facing some technical glitches. So, Ayush, is the mark of honor of us.
I think Shreya has sent me the voting polls. What should I do? Can the VP membership guide me with that? Shreya has sent me the voting polls result on WhatsApp. I think she's trying to tell me to just.
I think as a mark of honor, Ayush, she wants you to declare the results, so you can go ahead with it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. Just let me switch on my camera. And starting with the first role player. Starting with the first role player, I would like start with the best role player. Let's start with the best role player. Any guesses for that? Okay, so we have the guest from outside, Toastmaster Anik, for the general evaluator role. Let's have a huge round of applause for Anik Datta. And I wish, Anik, that you be back in our club to take up some different role and again be the best speaker and again be the best role player. Moving on, let's go for the best auxiliary role player. And this is quite common to say today because this is the first time I've seen someone delivering the report in such a unique manner. It goes to Toastmaster Anam as the work counter of the day. Let's have a huge round of applause for Anam and her mentor who has guided her for that. And thirdly, let's go for the most best table topic speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, there's no guessing for this. We all know if this person is speaking, it has to be this person. It goes to DTM Archita Tiwari. Let's have a thunderous round of applause for Archita. And the most improved speaker. Okay, before that, let me tell the best evaluator. And any guesses for that? Gurpreet, would you like to make a guess for that? Best evaluator?
It's very tough, right? So you just go ahead, Ayush. I don't want to take a single name. I believe 3 of them are winners.
Yes, 3 of them are winner, but the one guy who stood out was a vocabulary and a dictionary guy of KTM, Toastmaster Achyut, as the best evaluator for the evening. And the most improved speaker goes to someone who is going to file the highest educational award in Toastmasters. It goes to the impending DTM Shaurya Roy. And the best speaker goes to Toastmaster Ayush. Thank you everyone. And just like to
Congratulations, all of you.
Okay, Shreya, Toastmaster Shreya is back, and I would like to hand over the podium to
Please
Toastmaster.
carry on. Please carry on.
Okay.
Please carry on. We
So
are loving it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the first time I've got the opportunity to do this honor, and I'm really honored for this. So I bow down again to Shreya for letting me do this. I never expected such unique honor for me. And maybe someday I will be the president of my KTM and rule from the center with a scepter. With this, let's meet up at the same time, at the same place, at the same day at KTM. With this, I order the meeting to be closed officially, and we can stay back here to talk. Let's have a group picture, Gurpreet, if you don't mind.
Who's taking it? The host can take it. Probably Anam, I think, can take the picture.
Yes, sure. All cameras on, please. Okay. Yeah, okay. So 1, 2, 3. Smile, please. Done. That's done. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye, everyone. Good night. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night. Bye. Take care.